And we're back with the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm Paul Wallen, and I'm here today with Violet Hausthor and Mistress Miriam. And you just heard Right Now by Twisted Pine, and before that, Cat and Brad with Sugar Baby. And we started off that block with Daphne Gale and Down Jacket.
Daphne Gale went to college at Wesleyan out in Middletown, Connecticut. Excellent songwriter. I can hear it. I really like the arrangement on this track as well. It's just so lush and fun. Nice sort of indie rock sensibilities almost.
Yeah, she just has a great voice. And a funny thing about her is I stumbled on her during the pandemic, like the very early days, and she was doing a series of like 100 cover songs, one each day on Instagram or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she kept covering these songs that I wasn't familiar with. And I was like, oh, but I like that. And eventually I realized, oh, I think I like her singing. But yeah, she just has a great voice and lived most of her life in the Northeast, including on a farm in Vermont. And this song, Down Jacket, she has a funny story about because she wrote it before moving to Los Angeles. And when she got out there, a lot of people would tell her, oh, I really like that song, but what's a down jacket?
I can't, when I read that story, I could not believe it. I mean, Los Angeles is a city, but and a lot of Northeasterners, but it's a great story.
Lovely track. And then, of course, after that, Cat and Brad with Sugar Baby from Mystic, Connecticut, I believe. Really cool. There's so much here that I really like. Honestly, it's sort of retro pop, old school 50s and 60s era pop, but it's mostly in that sort of folk direction, that old school country, old school folk, old school almost bluegrassy direction. Yeah,
they definitely take a lot of their cues from like the 50s and 60s and American songbook standards. And I know they're both like really big Beatles geeks. So in a lot of their other songs, you can definitely hear that influence.
How long have they been together? Do we know?
I would say at least like 6-7 years, maybe a little longer. You know, the duo it's Brad Bensko and Kathleen Parks, who a lot of people may know from the other song we just played, Twisted Pine. But this song, Sugar Baby, is from their self-titled album in 2021. And it was a real kind of a last-minute addition to the record, but they kind of put it on there because they were getting really positive responses from live audiences on it and decided to include it right there at the last minute.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Twisted Pine.
Yeah, right now.
Excellent. I mean, it's such an interesting string arrangement going on there, but then also those vocal arrangements are incredibly tight. It almost reminded me of like a Steely Dan vocal arrangement, almost like there's these weird moments in the chorus where I was like, this could be like a string arrangement of a Steely Dan track, and I wouldn't have known the difference in some ways.
Yeah, they're very
crazy
innovative, and I know people think of them in that, kind of folk bluegrass space, but they just have so many different influences, and from song to song, you just never know what they're going to do. Yeah, that is Twisted Pine is Kathleen Parks is the lead singer there and plays fiddle. And like we said, she's in Mystic, Connecticut, and the band also has some Western Massachusetts roots there with the bass player Chris Sartori. Actually went to college in Amherst, and then the group is rounded out with Dan Bowie and mandolin and Ann Fung on flute.
A great lineup, obviously. Pretty much everyone on that lineup is fairly well known in the area for one group or another, and them coming together is always excellent to hear.
That song is from their album by the same name in 2020, and it's a fantastic album. So if you liked anything about that song, I highly recommend checking out the rest of it.
So how are we rounding off the show?
Yeah, I think we are taking a definite turn toward Western Massachusetts here in the last block. So we'll start it off with Eliza Edens and Ineffable.